So welcome everybody to Fire by Alive series. My name is Rebecca Spayne and I'm the managing editor here at the Fire by portfolio. And we're at FDIC International 2025. And it is with great pleasure that I get to speak with Kurt Becker, the business unit controller for Americas Suppression with Perimeter Solutions. So Kurt, thank you so much for giving me the time to...
My pleasure. Yeah. Good morning. Looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you. And just to start, obviously, we're going to be talking about the highly anticipated launch of the Solberg Spartan.
Right, yeah.
But can you just give everyone a brief overview of who you are and who Perimeter Solutions is?
Sure. So I was a firefighter for 22 years. I was a career firefighter in a busy urban department in the Metro St. Louis area. I spent the majority of my time on a pretty busy urban truck company. Had the opportunity to retire a little earlier than what I was anticipating. Spent a couple years in Washington, D.C. working for the Firefighters International Association, the union that represents all the firefighters in North America. And then was given the opportunity to come here to Perimeter Solutions and help talk about how we can bring real technological solutions to frontline firefighters out in the field. Perimeter's a really amazing company, run by some of the smartest people I've ever met. And we're super passionate about bringing really solid solutions to frontline firefighters as they're out in the field, putting themselves in harm's way, protecting their communities, the citizens and businesses that make up the core of what they do. When you think about our company, a lot of times what you're thinking about is the business that we do with wildland firefighting. So when you see news footage of these wildland fires and you see these large airplanes dropping red stuff around the fires, we make that red stuff. And we're pretty much the only company that does that. And we know empirically that we're changing the lives, not only of the firefighters that are fighting those fires, but the people that live in those communities. Our technological solutions are preventing hundreds of thousands of acres from burning. We're getting those firefighters out of that immediately dangerous to life and health environment quicker, reducing the fatigue on them with the solutions that we're bringing to the market. And we're convinced that we can have that same impact on the municipal fire market with our Solberg Spartan foam that we're bringing to the table today here. So when you think about the fire market, the municipal fire market, particularly in the United States, they fight about 500,000 structure fires every single year. Those are both residential and commercial fires. In addition to that, they fight another 500,000 automobile and dumpster fires. So we're talking about 1 million incidents every single year in just the U.S. alone, where firefighters are putting themselves in harm's way, pushing themselves to the limit. And in a lot of cases, in most cases, they're doing it with the same primary extinguishing agent that they've been using for the last 300 years. And it's time to revisit that paradigm and challenge that mindset because there is a better opportunity to extinguish those fires faster, cool that environment quicker, and overall make it a safer place for these men and women to operate. The faster we can put out that fire, the faster we can cool that environment, the quicker we can improve the visibility, the safer that's going to be for them. If we can put out that fire 40, 50% faster, which we can do with this foam compared to water, that means that they're in that ideal age for a shorter period of time. The cardiovascular stress on them is lower. Their exposure to contaminants, the kinds of carcinogens that are, making so many of our men and women sick, and cancer has become the leading cause of death in the fire service now. And so anything that we can do to shorten their exposure to all of those toxins is absolutely the right thing to do. It takes a little bit of courage to step back and say, well, maybe we do need to think about doing things a little differently. Firefighters don't love change. But what I've noticed over the course of my career is that when you bring them solid arguments as to why they should consider changing what they've done for the last 10 or 20 or however many years, they're open to that. You've just got to bring the right data to the table, and they'll consider it. And I think that's what we're going to find with this foam is that over time, as we begin to effectively bring the right information to the table, these firefighters, these fire chiefs are going to see the value of switching from a water first mindset to a foam first mindset, because we know that if the first arriving engine company attacks those incidents with a hose stream filled with foam rather than water, they're going to put the fire out faster. They're going to create less residual damage for the homeowner or the business owner, because they're going to use less water to fully extinguish that fire. In water depleted areas, particularly in the American West and Southwest, where there's this constant need to conserve water, being able to use half as much water in that environment's a big deal. But it's not just a big deal where water resources are scarce. It's an enormous deal if you're a homeowner and you've got to hire a company to mitigate after you've had a fire in your house. If that fire department used 2,000 gallons of water instead of 5,000 gallons of water, there's a lot less residual damage. There's a lot less stuff to clean up, a lot less stuff to put back in place. So you're going to get back in your house faster. If you're a business owner, you're going to turn that open sign on quicker because we're using less water to put out that fire.
Absolutely. Thank you. And you covered a lot of points that I want to touch on in a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
But the first point is obviously why you mentioned that it was time to start to make a change. So why launch this product at FDIC International?
Well, this is clearly the premier marketplace for firefighters across not only North America, but globally to come and learn about what's going on in the industry. FDIC has proven time and time again that this is the gold standard for these kinds of engagements. And particularly when you look at the U.S. market, many municipalities have a July to July budget cycle. And we wanted to make sure that we got this product in front of the fire chiefs, the deputies, the captains that are making the recommendations to their city administrator or their board of directors, for that next budget cycle. We want to make sure we got that information to them in advance. So the very best place to do that is here in April in Indianapolis at FDIC, where everybody's coming to look for that next thing, that tactical advantage. And I will say that, and I say with a lot of confidence that when you look around this enormous display area, there's a lot of amazing vendors here with a lot of incredible products, but very, very few of them will ever even come close to providing a 40% increase in efficacy over what they're doing right now. I would argue that the only thing that a fire chief can do that gives their men and women a greater tactical advantage than foam is making sure they've got the right number of firefighters on their fire trucks. So outside of 1710 staffing, outside of quality air packs on the backs of these firefighters, the only thing that's going to give them a 40% tactical advantage every single time they walk into a firefight is Solberg Spartan foam.
Absolutely. Thank you. And you've spoken about the firefighter being kind of the root cause of why you launched this foam. Yeah. So what feedback, I suppose, has helped enable the development of this foam and the launch of this foam?
Sure. Well, again, there is an innate curiosity amongst firefighters. They're always looking for that tactical advantage. They always want to, they have a very similar mindset to some of the top special forces, military operators in the Navy, in the Army, et cetera. They're always looking for that next thing that's going to give them an advantage over their enemy because they want to succeed in that environment. And so I think that curiosity is what's really driving this, because I think there's a recognition that the fires that these folks are fighting today are much different than the fires they were fighting 30 or 40 years ago. When I came on the job in 1999, almost all the buildings that I was operating in were legacy buildings. They were built in a much more solid way. The products that were in those buildings were made out of a much larger percentage of natural components than they are today. For the last 30 years, new construction has been primarily focused around truss framed roof packages, engineered flooring systems. There's very little real dimensional lumber in buildings anymore. And the contents within those buildings are all made out of petroleum derivatives. They're all plastics. They're all, PVC sort of based materials, and that's great for the consumer because it's cheaper and it's lighter to move around than your old sofa that was made out of oak and steel and cotton and wool, right? But the unfortunate side effect is that when those petroleum based products catch on fire, they burn very, very hot. They're very, very intense, and they put off all kinds of horrible, horrible things in the environment. And that's what these firefighters are going in and they're dealing with every day is very, very hot fires in environments that aren't intended to withstand that high heat. And it makes firefighting today very, very dangerous, which is why it's so important to give the men and women on that hose line every single tactical advantage they can. And, with all due respect to water, using foam is just much better.
Thank you. And one of your kind of selling points, I suppose, is that this foam is suitable for like 99% of fires.
Yes.
So why or how, I suppose, is this so versatile?
So one thing about Perimeter Solutions, I think that sets us apart is our commitment to always evolving. We've got about 20 chemists on staff, and their mission is to always look for ways to improve the products that we have, or to identify new pockets where we can take our technology and improve outcomes for the end users. And so what we've done with Solberg Spartan, first and foremost, is we've created a fluorine-free product. And I think that's really important. I think that's a really key point for us to hit on here, is that one of the challenges that we're facing in the fire service is the mindset that all foam is bad. Unfortunately, 10 years, 20 years ago, we started really learning about the impact of PFAS, and everybody got scared, and justifiably so. And so they recoiled and they kind of stiff-armed foam as a concept. And shame on the foam industry for not stepping in and saying, wait a minute, almost all of the stuff that we're putting on fire trucks today doesn't contain PFAS. But we didn't do that. We just kind of let that narrative take hold, and so now we're a little bit behind the eight ball, and that's part of what we're trying to do with this launch here at FDIC is change people's mindset, give them some more information about the not only the reliability and the efficacy of this foam, but the safety, the inherent safety of this foam. This is a completely fluorine-free product. And not only that, it's got that green screen certification. So, while it is not a natural based product, it's got the highest level of environmental certification that we can bring to the table. So not only is this foam very safe for firefighters to use, it's also as safe as it can be for the environment.
Absolutely. And obviously, as a former firefighter, how has this tailored, I suppose, your approach and experience into what makes a good foam today? So what experience do you bring to the table to Perimeter Solutions, other than talking to customers, in terms of your experience with foam?
So I think my background and my understanding of the very dynamic conditions that exist on a fire ground has really helped us kind of frame how we want to talk to firefighters about this. One of the things that we're really advocating for with this foam is that it is a one-stop shop. It's the only foam you need to put on your fire truck. It will resolve, like I said, 99% of the problems that you're going to encounter out there. It's a fantastic wetting agent for your normal fires, your house fires, your car fires, your dumpster fires, natural vegetation fires, etc. But it's also an outstanding hydrocarbon foam. So any kind of pooling fuel fires that you may encounter, it's going to take care of all of those. The only thing that we can't do with this is alcohol. Alcohol-based fires are very unique. It takes a very special foam, but those almost always occur in an industrial setting. It's very, very uncommon for municipal firefighters to encounter something like that. And I think one of the things that's really key about this is that while you can use this foam at different settings, our recommendation is to put your proportioner at 1% and set it and forget it. And I think that's something that's really important for firefighters, because when you pull up on a building fire, it is, like I said, it's a very dynamic, very stressful, very violent, incident right there, especially that first 5 or 10 minutes. The last thing you need to try to think about is, well, should I put my proportioner at 0.25 or 0.5 or 1 or 2 or 3%? Like, firefighters don't want to think about that kind of stuff. No disrespect. I mean, I spent many years doing this. I just want to know that when I pull that foam nozzle off, I'm going to get the right foam coming out of there. And so I think that's one of the real advantages that this product brings to the table, is that it's not only is it the only foam you need to put on your truck, you only have to choose one setting on your foam proportioner, and it's going to work for all of the situations that you encounter.
Absolutely. So it's a very easy transition into existing systems.
We're making it as easy and firefighter friendly as we possibly can. Again, we understand how many challenges that these folks are facing out there. We want to make this not only as user friendly as possible, but as effective as possible. And we genuinely believe that as people start to integrate this into their operations, develop that foam first mindset, that they're going to be very convinced that this is absolutely the best way to go. Going back to kind of the military conversation that I was using earlier, or the context I was using earlier. I mean, when you think about what our special forces folks are doing, when you think about what our Navy SEALs are doing, they're not going into battle with a crossbow and a muzzle loader. They're bringing the very, very best technology to the battlefield because they want to address their enemy and as quickly and decisively as possible. That level of curiosity, that intense desire to always be looking for the next best thing to affect your mission is part of it's ingrained in that mindset. And firefighters have that as well. They just need to kind of massage it a little bit. And I think that's where we're going here, is that if you're fighting fires today with foam, you're giving yourself every single tactical advantage that you can over your enemy, and you're going to put yourself and your fire crews in the best possible position to create the best outcome you can.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kurt. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
No, definitely. And everyone's heard it from, the horse's mouth, from Perimeter Solutions itself. Solberg Spartan is available now, and you can come talk to the team from perimeter-solutions.com and find out more. So thank you.
So much.